And we are live. By we, I mean me. What's up? It's your man DL Saint. I'm right here. Um, I am doing my first live broadcast uh, in this new space of YouTube. Um, and so I'm new. If you out there and you seeing this, you probably one of my first viewers. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I will definitely need input. Tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm not doing right, what you think you would want to see more of, what you want to talk about, all that good stuff. Um, and I will be more than happy because right now I see there are 0 people watching, but I am learning. This is a good thing. One day I'll have people watching live and they'll be able to come back to this episode and be like, wow, no one watched it. But the whole purpose of recording this is so I can post this on my YouTube and continue to put content out there. So I am working my own little hookup here, kind of taught myself how to do it. I am in the process. So I'm sure you're going to see some things that I do wrong, and you're going to see me looking around and clicking and touching stuff. Um, I got buttons, you know what I mean? So I'm going to be doing that. Like, hey, do you you, this thing I have is programmable, but I don't have any programmed sound effects in. But I do have cheering. I got applause. I got booing. Doesn't really sound like booing. I got laughter. All right, so yeah, we're gonna see how that works out. So on this episode one, I have called a good friend of mine, reached out to a really good friend of mine. I didn't reach out to him. We're always communicating. And yeah, we're going to be talking about comedy and stand-up comedy because if you go back and watch the video that I posted, the video in this with this setup, you know, it was live, but it was a practice run, a real practice run. It was just me talking for a little bit, and I was describing what I wanted to do with this channel. Right? Again, uh, my name is DL Saint. You want to know what all that means? Go back to that first video and watch it. I talk about that. So I'm going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff like everyone on YouTube, but I'm going to be putting a heavy emphasis on politics. I'm a huge political guy. I love politics. I think politics is amazing. The good stuff, the bad stuff, everything in between. And I'm going to be looking at things through my personal political lens. And I have a buddy that I serve with. His name is James Swanson. He might even jump in tonight because we talk about things from the perspective of 2 black guys, former military guys, former government employees. And the way we look at things is a little different. You know what I mean? We don't subscribe to picking one team or the other. We move with a mission. We move with a purpose. We learned that in the military. Once upon a time, you see that flag behind me. Once upon a time, I was a paratrooper, airborne. I didn't just go to jump school and get my wings. I wanted 5 jump chump. You know what I mean? I was airborne. I went on missions. I was part of a tactical team in my unit, and we did some cool stuff. You know what I mean? Some real cool stuff. So I'm very proud of that. You'll hear me refer to my military experience a lot. You'll also hear me refer to the streets. Right? I came up. We didn't have a whole lot. We weren't poor or nothing like that, but you know what I mean? We definitely did struggle. Right? Definitely from the hood. And that's the funny thing about being in the hood. You don't understand your bubble as such. Like, yo, that's your bubble. Like, you think everyone lives like that. You know what I mean? Just the stuff that you deal with in your bubble, you just assume everyone deals with the same thing. It's not the case, especially if you're coming out of certain environments, right? So I learned a lot there, a whole lot. Life lessons that this stay with me. They are who I am. They are in my bones, right? So that lens, my political lens, comes from that, right? It comes from that. It comes from working as a government employee. It comes from being a hard-working guy that can never get ahead. It comes from that. It comes from being competitive, you know, to an extent. It just so many things that makes us the individuals that we are. And we want to hopefully explore that, kind of delve into that and see, you know, what's going on with that. That's the goal. That's what I kind of want to do on this with this channel. I am retired. So I have time to do things like this. I can come up with a podcast. I can pursue my political endeavors out there with whatever it is I want to go do politically. I can travel. I'm a single dad, so I co-parent well with my daughter's mom, and we have a really good thing going on, which is great. I have um, that situation, and one day I want to delve into some more, but um, co-parenting, and then the way the system works today with what's going on in the world as far as family court in this country, in the Western world. Which brings us to one of the first things I wanted to talk about. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Here. So I am going to pull up. I think it's right here. Here it is. I am going to pull up an article that's right there. We'll make it a full screen so y'all can see it. Kelly Clarkson will pay Brandon Blackstock, I guess that's her ex-husband, baby daddy, $1.3 million in child support in a divorce settlement, which this money is. I read the article, and I'm not going to jump into that article uh, in detail up front. I do want to grab some numbers out of there, but that $1.3 million is a lump sum that's paid up front. In addition to that, she'll be paying child support, um, and it was a large sum on that child support part, and she'll also be paying alimony. And I think her children are, they have two kids. I think one is 7 and the other is 5. So she'll be paying that until they're at least 18 years old. Um, and then you look at in some states, and I think this is out of California. Some states they do allow for you to continue paying child support until your child is finished with college. I think in some states, so you have to talk to a pro about that to look into it. But you know, at least until they're 18 years old, um, and possibly until they're like 21 or in their 20s. I mean, somewhere between 18 and uh, 22, depending on how long they stay in school. So, um, but yeah, I think she's expected to pay. Let's see. So she had to pay that one time $1.3 million to her ex-husband up front. She had to cut a check for that. So that's what's been finalized in this particular agreement. In addition to that payment, oh, Ty is here. In addition to that payment, she has to pay child support, which there's some big numbers here. So I'm a little distracted. Let me add Ty to the screen. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ty Barnett.
What up, bro?
Yeah,
How you feeling?
what's happening?
I
I'm feeling
bet
all
you,
right.
I bet you I could guess who you was talking about.
Who?
Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, you can hear me. See, I didn't know you could hear me in the back
Oh,
room
I
there.
didn't. All I heard was the last part of she got to pay a lot of child support per month.
Yeah. So, okay, before we get into what we're gonna talk about, let's talk about that because I pulled it up now and just so I can tell you, I have 0 viewers right now. I just decided to go live instead of with the page that I'm doing. I want to just do live uncut, so it's like a cool conversation. I don't want to go back and edit. And no one knows about this. Like I got my niece. She's in Ohio State. She goes to the Ohio State University. She's a sophomore. She's doing excellent. Like her lowest grade is like an 86% right now.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else is like 90s and above. And I cut a deal with her because I mean she's a starving student. So she hit her uncle up. Oh man, they on here. My niece is on here as I'm talking about it. It's funny. She's in the live stream. I guess we got a viewer. So anyway, I told her, say, hey, I was like, help me build up my viewership. I want 1,000 subs, and I'll give you $1 per sub for every sub I get. And I had 16 subs when I cut that deal, and I got 43 subs now. That wasn't even 24 hours ago. Like I told her, she
Right.
went to sleep. I come from a family of hustlers. So anyway, Yeah, and she's watching, so that's funny. She's like, "Love you, all. I mean, I love this. This is great." So we're on Streamyard, and I'm just figuring out how it works. So anyway, Kelly Clarkson, bro, she had to pay right up front 1.3 million dollars to the baby daddy, and then in addition to the large payment, she will also pay monthly child support of $45,601. That's every month. 45,600.
Equality. Welcome to the terror town.
Welcome to the Terror Dome, bro. And then he also gets uh spousal support. Let me see if I can find that. But
Woo.
so right, so he's getting that child support, plus he gets spousal support, and I'm trying to find it. I read it earlier, and I didn't. I failed to prepare properly for this, man. But he's getting some spousal support in there as well. So but here's the one caveat. He gets to keep the ranch. I think she keeps a bunch of other properties, and she has to pay. I'm sorry, he has to pay her $2,000 a month for the ranch, which is like a spread. You feel me? It's like the back 40 and all that.
Right.
I don't know how many acres, but he got to pay her $2,000 a month for like an extended period of time. I think he's gonna be there for I don't know, like a matter of months or something like that, while he stays on her ranch. But he
Yeah, but
gets those
he's still making out with 44 grand.
every month
Uh,
until he,
you know what, man? And that means you got to keep singing. You better keep
stay on that TV show.
on.
Okay.
Got to stay on that show. And there's a part of me, man, that feels like, you know, uh, I don't think anybody, I don't think any kid needs $46,000 a month. That's my kids included. My kids.
Well, how much you
But
pay?
But I do say, I mean, I know it goes by what you're making, so she must be making a shit ton of money for them to even be saying that is a decent amount for her to be giving up. But on the flip side of that, like I said before, equality. I mean, this is the epitome of equal rights. You know what I'm saying? And any woman out there that has a problem with it, I can't see how you would.
I do. Here's the thing, and so I've told you this in the past, but I don't think you've ever checked out their podcast. Like I'm a big supporter of Fresh and Fit. Like I know these guys, right? They're pretty big in the man manosphere, the self help for men part of the internet. Like they're doing a lot of stuff over there, and they do some things that they say some things that people don't like, but they talk about this. They talk about the family court system and how men get ran over in the family court system, right?
Yeah.
More often than not, you're gonna lose your child. More often than not, you're gonna have to pay child support. More often than not, you're gonna lose your house. Half of everything you have. Blah blah blah. And there's another guy that's big in that space. His name is Rollo Tomasi. He's wrote books on the subject, and he talks about this all the time. And I asked Rollo, I said, "Hey man, we know that I want to say the majority of women are in college now. Um, and we know if you got a college degree, you're gonna make more money. So the majority of women are in college now. They come out of college, right? They're making more money. They get into a relationship with a guy that they out earn, right? They're with him for 10 years. They have a kid. Dude stays home with the kids. They get married. With the way the laws are set up now, they're gonna get Kelly Clarkson, right? Like, that's how it works. Dude's gonna get the house, right? Dude's gonna get child support. Dude's gonna get spousal support. So here's my thing, and you tell me what you think. I believe the laws are going to begin to change because it's going to negatively affect women in the Western world.
And if that's what it's going to take for it to change and make it fair, then that's what it's going to take. Because, like you just said, I mean, historically, men have been getting the raw end of this deal for, I mean, a long time. And so if it's going to take women being done wrong financially for them to say like, okay, let's rethink this, then I think it works out better for everybody because it's not just on another note with that, and we talked about this before. I honestly feel like spousal support should go beyond, child support should go beyond just dollars. because I mean anybody can write a check, anybody can do that shit. It's about keeping the family, not keeping it necessarily together because y'all not together, but raising that child together. That's what it's about. So for me, it's kind of like, look, if whatever changes y'all make, whatever y'all decide to do, if y'all make it about the the proper upbringing of that child and the welfare of that child, then I'm cool with that. Meaning, like, it's not just about writing a check; it's about how much time you get to spend, equal time, as long as the parents are both sane and good parents. It should be about that too, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, here's your money." Because I mean, how many people remember the toys they got versus the time they spent with their mom or dad?
Yep. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. So, but that's my take on it. I believe that the family court systems are going to change. I've always believed there's only a couple changes need to be made, and this is what I do on the political side of things. Like when I talk to elected officials and we're having these discussions with powerful political people, I'm like, listen, and they will agree to this too when the cameras are off. It's like, listen, we all know that the family court system is an unfair system the way it's structured today.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that. We can agree on that. Again, cameras are off. They're not gonna agree to this when the cameras are on.
Of
Cameras
course
are
not.
off. Right. So, but they were like, okay, but all right, man. So how would you fix it? I'm like, really one big thing. It's two things, but one big thing. When a person, man or woman, right, submits a petition for custody and or child support, right? So you got people they were in a relationship or whatever, they got a kid, they go to court. The judge should be required by law to split that 50-50.
Yeah.
Like there's no question as to custody. The default law should be dad gets 50%, mom gets 50%, and then if there's an issue, the burden should be on that parent, whoever it is that thinks that the other parent shouldn't get their equal time, and
Right.
that burden of proof should be really, really high. So that's how I think it would be. And
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
oh, and I was like, with reference to child support at that point is unneeded because you have two people, irregardless of how much they make, right? They're obviously in a position where they can take care of that child, especially in cases where there was no marriage. So it's
Right.
like, all right, you making your own money, you making your own money, bam. Now, if you one parent or the other needs some sort of financial assistance, they can't afford to feed or clothe or house said child, then we could talk about, well, okay, you need some extra money. Let's run the numbers. It shouldn't be $45,000 a month,
Yeah, no,
right?
and no, like I said, I mean, I agree that no kid needs $45,000 a month. Um, but like I said, the system is set up in a way to where they only go off of percentages of income. And when you have a system like that, it's always going to be like some crazy number. I remember a dude worked at McDonald's, bro, had 33 kids. I'm sorry, 33 kids, and he was paying $1 in child support each kid. Now, there's a part of me that's like, yo, this motherfucker got 33 kids. And then another part of me was like, damn, he only having to pay fucking $1 a kid. I think he's gaming the system. So, like I said, when you have that type of situation, there's times where you're gonna be like, it's just not fair. It's not fair, and no one wants to just be giving them money, especially if you're giving money to somebody that's not using that money for what they're saying the money is for. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
When,
I agree absolutely. And that's
when think about that, dude. When you're writing a $45,000 check, and maximum, even if they live in a nice place, maximum $10,000 of that is being used. The rest is fucking being pocketed. Hey man, that's got to make you mad, male or female. So to your point, if the system sees fit now to say, okay, now let's change something. It's almost like when people talk about that people are talking about freedoms and shit now, and they say, well, wait a minute. I know we've been screwing black and brown people over on their freedoms all this time, but now we feel affected by it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when if it changes, I'm all for if it changes the system for the better, because at the end of the day, the child needs to be raised properly. So and a lot of times that has nothing to do with a check. It has to do with the mental stability of the parents. The parents, if the parents on the right page and they put that kid first, and like I said, we talked about this before, if they put that kid first, then the kid's gonna be fine financially, emotionally, physically. It's gonna be cool. You know what I'm saying? It'll have a better chance as opposed to a parent that just is out for spite and they just want to see dollar signs and be at the club and shit. So
And pain, not just the dollar sign, but pain. They want to take their pound of flesh from that individual because the relationship didn't work. And that's also what happens in a lot of cases. So, and I didn't want to turn this into like a relationship kind of thing. We can do that at another
oh yeah,
time in
no,
the future.
I know we on
Yeah,
other we on
but we
other
gonna, we gonna keep it light today. But you're absolutely right. And before we change the topic, I just wanted to ask you one question. Have you ever heard of the term red pill, blue pill, black
yeah.
pill? Okay, so I didn't want it to turn because a lot of people are like, I'm curious to see when folks do finally discover this channel, how what kind of corner they paint me in. Like, bro, you red pill or blow, you blue pill or blow, you this. I'm just kind of curious as to where I wind up in that because, and that's a conversation I love to have with you one day, man, about dating dynamics and this, that, and the third, like gold diggers, this and that. Because with this Kelly Clarkson thing, I sent it out to this one chat that I'm in with a bunch of people. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm about to get me a fat rich girl. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man. Look,
Like,
bro. Hey, gas is $12 a gallon. Yeah, so hey man, rent is high, every cost of living is high. Everybody gonna be it's gonna be apocalypse pretty soon. You better find somebody that's got a little warm spot though, because if you ain't got your own, it's gonna be a hard day out
it's
there.
gonna be a hard day, man. So let's talk about what we want to talk. What I asked you to come on here for to talk about, man. Let's talk about comedy, man. And you know what? I'm remiss in what's going on. I've known you forever. You my homie. You know what I mean? You like my brother. You know what I'm saying? We've been in the trenches together.
Appreciate you, bro.
But there might be people who watching this that have no idea who you are. So could you give them a quick elevator pitch, or I don't,
Um,
what the Hollywood term is?
Comedian, actor, writer. I can say producer now because I've put a couple things together. Um, Podcaster. I've been doing comedy for about maybe 20 plus years, acting for maybe 15. Done a few TV shows. As far as stand up, Last Comic Standing, America's Got Talent, a few Tonight shows, Conan, um, Bad Boys of Comedy. What else is something else? Something for Nickelodeon. As far as acting goes, there's Samantha Who, Christina Applegate, there's Till Death with Brad Garrett. Most recently, it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I was on there with my boy Craig Robinson. So, yeah, and I still tell jokes. I have a dry bar special that's out there. I have a comedy special called Grown Man Baby Steps. But the dry bar thing is the most recent, and so yeah, you can check me out there.
Absolutely, that's what's up, man. And then for those people who are wondering, uh, they'll be like, "Yo, man, you know people." I'm like, "Bro, I've been in the streets. I know people. In every bubble. I know some actors. I know some great comedians like my boy right here, Ty Barnett. I know some hitters. Like
Uh,
I came from, like I said, I came from top of the show. I was talking about like different bubbles, and I got friends and I got people that care about me in all them different circles. So man, so
well, we go back. A lot of people don't, they won't know that. You was one of the first people to give me some stage time when I first came to Los Angeles. In the time where, if a motherfucker don't know you, you know how it is. The motherfuckers act like I don't know you, nigga. How many other people know you? You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right.
But it was never like that with us from day one. We vibe. So I appreciate that. You was one of the first people to help me kind of get acclimated to some of the comedy scene here, and you always gave me a spot when possible. So yeah, dude, it's weird because like I said, stand up, and we talked about this not too long ago. Stand up is a weird thing because I don't think it's ever respected the same way as other art forms are.
Right, right. You mentioned that, man. Remember,
Oh.
remember your Airbnb metaphor?
Yeah, because now with and I gotta preface this, we understand, ain't got no problem with them trying comedy, ain't got no problem with it. It's a free country. Do what you want to do, get it, I got it. But you also should respect the people that came before you and the people that are actually still doing it, the people that are grinding. And it's not just him, but I see it with a lot of reality show people or actors that just do acting, and then they say, "Well, in order to stay in the spotlight, I'm gonna try stand up. I'm going to do stand up." And but they're vets out here. They're fucking hardcore, nose to the ground, straight up comedians who like this is their bread and butter. This is what they do. And I think a lot of people when they come in, they don't look at it the same way because it's not their main thing. Like I said, so to what the analogy I was saying was, it's the difference between renting an Airbnb and owning a home. You know what I'm saying? When you own a home, you hear about everything in that house, everything, the lights, the water, like everything, the window, everything, the paint, how it looks, how the furniture look, making sure stuff looks nice, it stays clean, and all that stuff. You care about all of that, the property around it, everything. You are very protective of your home because it's your home. Versus, you go rent an Airbnb, you don't really give a fuck. I mean, you're only gonna be there for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I ain't really got to worry about the couch. Somebody else is gonna clean the couch. I ain't got to worry about the bathrooms or anything like that. And I think sometimes people come into comedy with that kind of mentality because as soon as something else comes along for them, a lot of them bounce and they don't stick with it. They're just like, "Oh, cool. It got me to where I wanted to be. Now I'm out."
Right, right. And that's what people don't understand about the craft. I think people forget that stand-up comedy is a craft to be mastered like any other craft. I tell folks all the time, like a good stand-up comedian makes it look easy, right? They make it look
Yeah.
easy, and that's a testament to their talent. But it just you just don't wake up one day and you're doing Madison Square Garden. It doesn't work that way.
Unless you Ti.
See, you about to get me in trouble, man. Like, I'm closer to Ti than you are, man. I'm down here. I'm in Florida, man. We up in eight towns. Ain't gonna
Well,
have
you know
no.
what, man? I'm saying it. I'm joking, but it really is, like you said, it's not an overnight thing. Not for most people. Not for 99%.
I would say there is nobody, and look, and let's keep it 100. Like Ti, you can argue Ti is a legend, right? When in the hip hop genre, a music legend. Like we talking, Hall of Fame status with whoever, Grammys and all that. Definitely a legend in the streets. I love his music. You know what I mean? And I love his music because it's real. I know where he's from, and I can feel his passion, and he's good at it, right? And then even to know his story, how he was able to get from under a really bad label deal, and how he was able to see what was going on and adjust on the move, and make and do what he has done. The man, the brother has made a success of himself. Now, with all that said, you don't just come from being okay. I'm the best that ever, I'm one of the best to ever do it in that genre over here, and then walk over here and be like, bam, I'm the man. And because it takes time, he didn't get out of bed and become the Ti that we know today when he first decided he was gonna
Right.
get out there and rhyme. You know what I mean? Rubber Band Man just didn't come out like that. You know what I mean? He had to grind and do all that stuff. Hell, he had to do the stuff in the streets to have the shit to talk about.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna talk about stand up comedy. I know a lot of people who they look at stand up and be like, I can do that, right? And it's akin to people who looking at LeBron James, right, and be like, I can do that. You can. Be like you can look at Tiger Woods and be like, I could do that. You can, but you can't do it to that level. Like
Right.
just stepping off, you know what I mean, out of the street. So with stand up, right? So let's talk about your personal stand up journey, man. Like, so you started in the Pacific Northwest, right? Or
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Chicago, but I didn't do stand up until I got to Seattle. I started stand up in Seattle. Comedy Underground. Can't believe it's gone, man. It just closed about a couple years
word?
ago. My home club, bro. First time ever on stage was there, and
Did the
I
virus get it?
started.
Did it fall victim to the virus, or what happened?
If you mean bad business management, yes, yes, it did fall victim to that. Well, you know what? Because the dude who owned the club, I don't think he ever appreciated the club like other people appreciated the club. Like as performers, bro, like your home club means something to you. Like it's the place where you start, especially if your career has lasted a long period of time. Like you always look back at the place where you started with a different fondness than any other places you perform, because that's the genesis. That's where it started. That was your very first joke was told there.
That's right. Comedy store. What? That's it.
E-
Sunset, baby.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So you're always gonna have this connection to it. So I've always treated that place with a different kind of attitude than any other comedy club that I've played, any other comedy venue, because not only was it where I started, but it was the energy in that room, bro. Let me tell you something, man. The Comedy Underground, when it was in its heyday, was one of the best clubs in the country. In the
Come on
country.
now. I mean, for real?
In the country, bro. I'm talking about it was one of the few places on the West Coast that gave you an East Coast feel. Like, I mean, when the shows were packed, there was no other fucking room better than that room, dude. Because it was downstairs, it was compact, the audience is right there, and dude, like the comedians would, you felt like you had to kill every night. I mean, we felt for different reasons why we had to kill. You
All
know,
right. Oh,
you ain't
oh
thinking
yeah,
about the
yeah,
women.
yeah,
You
yeah,
about
yeah.
to, hey, look at the cuties and all this. But
Exactly.
so anyway, so that's why I started. But again, the guy who ran the club, I don't think he cared about it as time went on as much. So when the pandemic hit, it really was this thing of, it was a combination of that, but also not trying to make sure to sustain that. And so anyway, long story short, the club is gone, but that's where I started. Moved to Los Angeles. I used to work at a hospital, and I knew I didn't want to keep working at the hospital. So I made a plan to be gone from the hospital within a year.
So
So
right there, let's talk about that for a moment, right? Because I get a lot of people who ask me about this in particular. People don't know this about you, but I'm a veteran. You're a veteran. We were both in the army, right? We didn't serve together, but we both served in the United States Army
right,
at certain points. You came out of the army, sharp brother. You had it all lined up. Like I'm gonna get me a nice career. So you were in the medical field.
right.
So you
I
were
didn't
doing
want
pretty,
anything about comedy.
but you were doing pretty good, right?
Yeah, I was a pharmacy tech, bro, and I had a job with benefits, as the kids say now. And had benefits and everything, and I needed them because my kids was little. I had just had, my youngest was just born. My oldest was probably 3 or 4, something like that. And so
And wait, were you married at the time?
no, we were just together.
But okay, might as well could have been like common law kind of thing, right? Y'all were together.
Nah, yeah. Anyway,
But y'all were together. Like it was, you
yeah,
were.
yeah, yeah. We were together. Yeah, we lived in the same house.
So
Yeah,
it's mom's dad. We have the children. You're
yes.
out there doing you making it happen.
Yeah. So what I would do, my routine when I started stand up, when I was really like, really trying to do this and really, really trying to uh formulate this plan, because I knew I didn't want to be at the hospital anymore. Like I knew that. Like I would drive to work and have to cry because I did not want to be. I'm literally, bro. Like I would have to pull over on the side of the road and cry because I'm like, I knew I was wasting my time at a place that I didn't want to be in. So I made
And
a
just for the
plan.
record, it takes a real man to cry out there. I don't want to hear no bitch ass niggas. Just real man. He was crying by
Mind
himself.
you, it was dark by the time. And so a lot of people didn't see it. And by the time I got to work, I had to just wipe my face off and just kind of, and I didn't do any of the stuff that I do now. I did not smoke, drink, none of that stuff. So I had to deal with all that stuff head on.
But that's why you was crying, bro. You needed some kush.
Oh man, it was no relaxation. It was just like deal with it. And so I made a plan. I said, you know what? What I'm going to do is I don't want to be here in a year. So I gave myself a year. So I said, okay, for that year, all the money I make from stand up, the little road gigs, the little one nighters or whatever around town, that was going towards paying bills. So I would take all that money, $100 here, $200 here, whatever, and that would go towards the bills. All the money from the job went to the plan. It went to, so I didn't touch that money. I stopped driving if I didn't have to drive. I started packing the lunch, everything. I cut back on everything. If it wasn't going towards the kids or the bills, it wasn't getting spent. And
So, but
I was
that takes a lot of discipline. Like, where'd that come from, bro? Because I ain't gonna lie to you.
military, military, and my granddad, God rest his soul.
God rest his soul. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
it came from those two. The military, because you realize if you put your mind to something, you really, because we didn't want to fucking run 2 miles, but we did because we had we had to.
I
You
was
know,
tactical. Like, that's all y'all ran was two. I was tactical, bro.
well, exactly. So so you already know. Um, the discipline to get up and make your bed every day, make sure your uniform looks nice, and be in order and still get stuff done. So it came from there, and my granddad who taught me that um, there was more to life than Chicago. There was more to life than just what's in front of you. You just got to be willing to go out there and do it. So what I decided to do was I said, okay, I can either sit here and keep complaining about this job, or I can make a plan to get up out of it. And now, mind you, dude, my kids was, I mean, I wasn't one of them dads that was like, well, the kids just gonna have to, they'll have to deal with. No, I was like, I take care of my kids first. My kids come first. So it was always that. I just had to
So,
figure out a way to do that to where I put the kids first and still was able to go do what I needed to do because I needed a life.
so
That's the thing.
hold on. You telling me that a black man in America made a plan that included his children and taking care of his significant other who wasn't even legally
That
tied to
too.
you?
Oh, bro, I made sure she was taken care of too. It was like,
I'm
I,
gonna have to push back on that, Mr. Black Man. That's not a thing.
man, dude. But you know what? Because I was like, you know what? The goal for me, was I had to have something that was mine. And a lot of people don't realize when you don't have something that's yours, that's what makes your life hard sometimes. Because I mean, a lot of people, we do a lot of shit. A lot of people do a lot of shit that they don't want to do. You work 8+ hours at a place that you don't like. You drive in traffic, the hour, whatever, 2 hours, to and from. And by the time you get home, you're exhausted. So how much time do you really have to devote to somebody that's there, whether it's your significant other or your kids? And I got tired of that. I got tired of being of devoting all my time to something else and not having time, And so stand up was that thing where I was like, all right, I always wanted to try it. Let me see if I'm good at it. Got on stage, and man, from the first time I got on stage, bro, that was a wrap.
So you were like, I don't want to work this job to the point where it was what is anxiety is the word everyone uses now. Like you had the severe anxiety about going to work or whatever, whatever. It was just to us that's just life. You're like, man, I hate this shit. I don't
Yeah.
want to do this. And then you decided, or then you discovered stand up, or was it you always kind of like people think? How did you get to stand up? Is what I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Stand up came as I tried it while I was still working at the house because I didn't know for sure that I was going to like it. I'd always thought about doing it because watching people like Pryor, Cosby before the pill,
I just,
the
I just got that.
the other people, Eddie Murphy, all these types of people, everyone that we came up watching, I would watch it. Dude, I remember watching Pryor. This is why I say he's still one of my biggest influences. And I said, man, this dude gets paid to just tell jokes and have fun. I said, man, that's got to be fucking amazing. And look at the different people he's making laugh. So
Well, there was also the cocaine, and then you got to set yourself on fire. But that was later.
that, yes, I have not tried either one of those, and I'm just going to take his word for it that they were significant in his life. Um, so, um, so it was more so how it started was I want to try stand up while I was still working at the hospital, and then when I tried it, and I was like, it if you ever, the idea of falling in love with something or falling in love, period, is one of the closest things I could say with stand up. for me because when I got my first laugh, I was like, whoa, okay, that came from my head. That laugh I got came from my head. I wrote it on a piece of paper and I presented it to the people when they laughed. And so that was the spark for me. And then when I started doing more shows, and really seeing that I could actually make a little bit of money make money at it, because I was only making, I think my first gig I ever got paid for was like $25 or some shit. Um, which is weird because improv pays 8 now. So, so, but 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 when I started seeing I can make money at it, that's when I was like, okay, how? How can I not only take care of myself but take care of my kids? Because that was always the thought always started from them. Always started from them. How can I make sure they're taken care of? Because it's okay to follow your dreams. I'm a firm believer in that. But you have to, if you have kids, you have responsibilities, you have a wife, all that type of stuff. Any kind of response. I always say you have to make sure that's taken, because that's what you have to come home to. You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to come home to. Even to this day, like being married now, a lot of my thoughts come from how does it make sure that the home is taken care of? You know what I'm saying? My wife, is she taking care of it? Is it something that we still can make sure that we can do this and still be comfortable? So my thoughts have always been from that, because I love performing, but I also know that, you have to live a regular life aside from this. So anyway, what I did was, once I decided I wanted to do it full time, that's when I made the plan. And I said, okay, I gave myself a year. And once I gave myself that year, bro, it really, man, I got to be honest with you, dude. The hustle I had was fucking phenomenal. I'm not gonna front, man. I was, every club I could get, I would take. I remember one time I got off work at like 3:30 at the hospital. I got off work at 3:30, drove 3 or 4 hours to a gig at a bowling alley. At a bowling alley. Did the gig, went back to the hotel, slept for about 3 hours because I had to be at work the next morning at 7, and drove back and was at work the next day. And dude, now mind you, I had the younger energy. Me now, something ain't happening. I'm not working.
Right. Some got to give.
Not happening, bro. So, but at the time, I had mad energy and mad drive to do it, because I was like, this is the only way that I can get this done. This is the only way to get this done and still be where I need to be, not only for my life but for my kids. So it was like, um, as tiring as it was that's how it started. And then from there, fast forward to 8 months later, I had enough money to saved up, bro, to where I was able to quit the job and start making that transition down to Los Angeles.
And I just wanted, and thanks for telling me that, bro. I mean, that's you know what I mean. I gotta give you a little yay on that one, because this is just the beginning. What I was hoping to hear this story, so if some young person is thinking about doing comedy or acting or writing or whatever it is, hear this, they will understand that it's sacrifice, dedication, and hard work.
Yeah.
That's it. And here's no shortcuts, right? There's no cheat codes, right? You got to play the bowling alleys. You got to play the dive bars, right? You got to go drive out to the middle of nowhere and do some random Indian casino if you're lucky, right? Them gigs actually pay pretty good. I remember Brett Ernst got me my first gig as a host, Kosovo Casino, man, and we drove forever to get in the middle of nowhere, and I think I got paid $100, $200 just to host. And I did a horrible job. I'm not gonna lie to you, Brett. Shout out to you, brother. He hooked me up, got a poster, all kind of stuff. But but I had maybe 6 minutes of material, not even. I had 6 minutes, and that's counting crowd work. You know what I mean? So it was like, you feel me? So, but yeah, so that was the first stage of your comedic career. Is that right?
Yeah. That's where it started there. And then, like I said, I would come down to Los Angeles, sleep on my boy's couch. Ian, shout out to Ian Harris, my podcast partner on Critical and Thinking, every Thursday, 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. But him and his girlfriend, now wife, they used to have this little 1-bedroom apartment off of Sunset. Remember where Tower Records was? Off
Yeah, I picked you up over there. I know exactly where it was.
Yeah, exactly. So I used to go, and your room was up the street from there. It was walking distance from there. So what I would do is I would do all of these shift trades at the hospital. So like I would work with all the coworkers and say, I'll work this day for you if you work this day for me. And so I was able to get multiple days off in a row. And so with those days off, bro, I mean, dude, laser focused. Like I
So
would be
you was
like,
coming down from Seattle to LA.
that's so when you would see me, bro, that 9 times out of 10, I was coming off of a flight, coming straight in to do the set, do what I got to do, and go back.
And,
So
and your plan had to include the money because obviously you weren't really killing it like that at
no,
that point in your
not
career.
here, not in Los Angeles, not at the time, because you're not really making money like that. But I had enough money saved up to where the bills that needed to get paid in Washington were still getting paid, and I was doing little gigs here and there that was still making enough money. So that's why I said I had to work smarter. Like I ain't had the luxury that a lot of people have to just say I'm packing up my bags and going for broke. I couldn't take that chance. So
Because you'd have went and been broke. That'd have been the end of it.
exactly, I would have went. Yes, most definitely. So what I did was I would come down if I had 4 or 5 days free. Usually it averaged between 3 to 4 days that I had in a row to kind of be here and do what I needed to do. So what I would do is I would come down here, and man, from the time I landed to the time I went back, I was either at a club, on stage, at a club networking, or I was at some kind of social scene networking, getting
And,
business
and,
cards.
and that was enter Don Lewis at that point. That's
Exactly.
when you bumped into me. Okay.
Exactly. So by the time I would say by the time I was really ready to move here, I'd already kind of built up some connects and all that type of stuff. So I was really good at networking. I always tell people that was when I was really good at pretending that I liked everybody.
Yeah, because I thought you liked me. I ain't gonna lie. I thought we was cool. But
Stop. You was one of the few people, bro, that I said when I first met him, I was like, okay, that seems like a genuine brother, because sometimes, and you know this, bro, we ain't gonna say no names with people, but we both know people that are full of shit. And
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And there are a lot of them are out
so,
there.
and those are the people that, when you see them now, you're like, that's why I didn't rock with you that much back then. So, but you never been that dude, and this is why we still been friends to this day, you know. So that's why I say, man. So for me, I really started it. I was really methodical in how I decided to go about making this transition, and a lot of that, to be honest with you, is due to being a parent. It really was. Is like to be honest, like sometimes I'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, "Yeah, man, I'm just down here in LA, man, and just packed up my bags and came to LA." And I'm like, a little part of me is a little jealous, like, man,
So it
look
must
at
be
you.
nice. Right.
You're nice to just only have to think about yourself, and you came in and making it happen. Because I know I didn't have that luxury, which, I mean, to be honest with you, there's a part of me that knows that I think it helped me because it made my focus so intense. Like I had to. Like there was no fucking around. There was no going to parties and getting drunk and not paying attention to what you. Nah, everything was with a purpose, bro. So yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, you had to do that, man, because if you didn't, I mean, everything failed. Like the kids,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, all
Yeah.
right, and that's one of the reasons. Okay, now it makes sense because I can never get you to go out with me. Now I know why.
Uh,
Right? Because I didn't have any kids at the time. I was living that life. I mean, it was definitely almost rock star status. You feel me? Like I remember. Well, okay, so that's how you got started. And I ain't gonna lie, I thought you were a little bit more advanced, and that's why I'm jumping in here because we're gonna go into the second phase, which was some really cool shit happened during the next phase. But so just so I can catch up, so I was an air traffic controller in LA,
mhm.
right? During the day, and then at night, I would do stand up, and I never had the desire to do stand up. I didn't think I could do it. I was just that dude that would be saying stuff on the low to his friends and making them laugh, kind of thing. And I wasn't even trying to be funny. I just be saying silly things. Something I would see the world differently, and I would vocalize it, and people would laugh. And I had my friends who were like, finally, they were like, "Yo, you got to do stand up," because we were in Santa Monica at on Santa Monica in Santa Monica on Santa Monica Boulevard at some club. I forget the name of it, but it was popping back then. And we're coming out. You know, I'm a networker. You know, I know a little bit of everybody. We coming out. We're standing there at valet waiting on our car, and this bus pulls up like one of those long vans, and it was like they had a bunch of corporate people going bar hopping, and they started coming off this bus like these corporate folks, you know what I mean, white collar, you know what I mean, waspy looking, drunk. They were, dude, they couldn't stand up. They're falling off the bus, and I'm making comments like, oh, a real short bus. Like I'm making these comments and I'm saying these things that were today would get you canceled, but still it was just funny. I was using words you can't use today, and I'm messing with these people. And my friends were crying, dude. I don't even remember what I said, but they had tears coming out their eyes. They were like, "You have to do stand up." So that weekend, I went to the Comedy Store on Sunset, and back then they ran their open mic, their potluck. They ran that. It was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You had to, you pick numbers or whatever. And I went up there for like 2 weeks in a row, weekends in a row, trying to get a number. I finally got a number, and then it was like you didn't pull a number and go up that night. You pulled a number that was for the following week. So I finally got on stage, and it's the same thing you said, man. Like I went on stage and I made somebody laugh with the most hacky material that you could ever think of, bro. Like stuff I wouldn't even want to tell you what I said. I actually wrote the jokes down later in life, and I burned them. Like it was just
hilarious.
It was just, but that you got 3 minutes. That's it. You got 3 minutes. And it was hard. Like most comics, like 90% of comics didn't make it. It was like Stalingrad during the Second World War, man. Or like no, like it was the worst. People went in there, comics went in there, and didn't come out the same. Like they, you know what I mean? They got to stare and all that. But I went up my very first time. Ari Shaffir was hosted. Ari was hosted. Right. The Amazing Racist was hosted. Right. And shout out to Ari.
I'm glad you.
Hey, he don't run. He doesn't run from it, man. He doesn't run. In fact, he's kind of embraced it now to a point that I think it's crazy. But I mean, again, I know the guy. I mean, I know him. I've sat around with him. That night, he was being nice to comics. He gave me a good intro. A tourist group had just walked in. I did 3 minutes. I got a standing ovation. No lie, standing ovation. First time I ever did stand up, dude. You talk about riding high. Right? Boy, that was better than any drug ever. And that's ever. And I was like, that's it. So then the next night, I had pulled numbers for back-to-back nights. Next night, I come up, you know what I mean? Same thing, but now the room is like it used to be. Dark, stinks. You can't see the crowd. This is before. This is not like it is now. Like now, it's what's up. Like now, it's popping. Right, but back then it was like Fight Club for comics, bro. Like what happens in here stays in here. There's bullet holes in the walls in the back. You know what I mean? It was fights every other week. It was tough. I went up the next night. I bring my friend Corral, this beautiful Puerto Rican woman, beautiful. I come in there like, yeah, baby, I'm finna rock this out. You know what I mean? I got a standing O last night. Went on stage, same material. Man, you talk about, it was worse than Michael Richards, bro. It was bad. It was bad.
But that's why I say that's the I won't say the beauty because there's no beauty in bombing, but that is the beauty. That is the thing about stand up that I feel is interesting still, is that you don't know what night is going to be. Like I always say, like you can train and be good enough to bomb less. That's the most you can do in stand-up. Because when people say, because the comedy is so subjective, especially nowadays. So when people say, well, first of all, it always trips me out when someone says, I've never bombed. Stop.
Liar.
I know you're lying.
You're not a comic.
Yeah, exactly. I just, when you say you never bombed, are you being honest with what you're hearing? Because if you're not, because everybody, Chappelle, I've seen Chappelle get booed. So stop. I've seen
Not,
Chris Rock not have a good set.
not
Chris Rock
rubber band man. Not rubber band man.
I've seen the tippy top Richard Pryor not have it. I've seen Richard Pryor do a arena. The jokes not hit. I've seen it. Like I've seen it. Seen the jokes not hit, and see him say, "I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it tonight," and leave, only to come back though the next night and fucking destroy.
Live on
So
Sunset Strip. That's what happened on
yeah,
Live on Sunset Strip.
exactly. So anybody that says they never bombed is I'm always like, stop. No, fuck out of here with that. But and this is what I mean by like this is what's I think stand up is what I love about it is that every night is a challenge. Every night because you don't know who's going to be an audience, you don't know who's going to dig what. But the thing is, if you are good enough to make as many different people laugh at the same stuff over and over again, that's a gift, bro. Let me say this. Anybody watching the show, and this is, and I'm not on some ego shit or nothing like that, man. This is just really what I feel about stand up. If you're good enough to do this for a living, to where you can make, think about that. You're drawing an emotion out of people that you don't even fucking know, that you don't even know. Now, like you said, you were making people laugh initially, and they didn't expect you to be making them laugh. You just happened to be doing that. Now, that's great because I think a lot of people can do that. A lot of people can just make people laugh.
It's the one off. Anyone can have. You can trip and make somebody laugh.
But when you go to a club, when you go to some place and you say, okay, now I'm gonna, people walk in with an expectation automatically. Like, okay, go ahead, do it. And for you to be able to do that, that's a gift, bro. This is what I always tell comedians, man. And I gotta bounce here in a second, but this is what I always tell comedians, man. Cherish that. Do not let these motherfucking bookers, these gatekeepers, these bullshit gatekeepers, don't let these motherfuckers make you feel like what you do is not special. Because it is. You know why it's special? Because a lot of motherfuckers can't do it. Literally, a lot of motherfuckers can't do it. I always use the doctor analogy. And then when I say this, let me be very clear. We're not better than doctors. We're not doctors heal. They save people. I know that. I'm talking about in the sense of learning the occupation. You can go to school. You can go to school right now at this very moment, and you can learn to be a doctor. All you got to do is be smart enough to read books, take in the knowledge, and grasp the knowledge and do it. You can do that right now. But if you aren't funny, there's nothing that can teach you to be funny. Nothing. So when I say that to people, I'm like, look, man, respect it. Respect it. This is an art form, bro. This is an art form. This ain't just some bullshit. This ain't the Airbnb. This is a house, man. You need to cherish the home, bro. You need to cherish what you're bringing to it and what you're putting into it because, and you know this, dude, when you're around people that give a fuck, you can feel it. You can feel it. As opposed to being around people that are just kind of like, yeah, I'm only doing this shit until some other shit pops off. I don't like them people, man. I don't, because I know a lot of hardworking comedians that every fucking night, bro, their goal is to smash every fucking night. Either smash or build on smashing. Either way.
It's like you want to crush, man. Like even if you work, like when you go work out material, and we're gonna have to do a part two because we're gonna have to really talk about. We ain't got into none of the good stuff, but when you work on material, and I know this, you take the premise, then you go on stage and you work it out. And while you're working out, you still make the audience laugh. You've done rooms for me as a favor. Hey, man, can you do this room? I might have 5 people in there. I've had some great shows. I've had shows with standing room only, but I've also had some shows maybe 4 or 5 people there. And you still make sure you rock those 5 people out.
Because those 5 people still are there. They still came for the show. They still left their house. They still showered. They still drove. They still, wanted to come out for evening. And a lot of the people come out because they want to escape what's going on in their world. And I think one of the greatest compliments I ever got in this business was someone telling me I helped them through brain surgery. And then,
Wow.
now, ironically, she made it very clear that I'm not a doctor. So I ain't saying you perform the surgery or nothing. I said, I appreciate this shit, but she said, I watched your stand up as I was recovering, and you helped me get through a lot of the stuff I was dealing with. And I was like, man, I still to this day, it's one of those things where I'm like, I hold on to that because I remember when I did not know where I was going with this. I didn't even know I was going to do this. And to be here all these years later, it's like, so when it comes to working stuff out on stage, it still has to be fun for me first. First and foremost, it has to be fun for me so that I can make it fun for you. So when an idea comes in my head, and this, it's one of my favorite jokes that I still do, came from us hanging out one night, and
I drug you into the club. I took you into the spot.
yeah, the GoPro joke came out of a real experience. And how I would do it is I would go with the punchline. Here's the punchline. And if the punchline gets a laugh, then that's my foundation. Because that's the that's the build. I can build off of that block right there. You laughed at that part, which is the end of the joke. So now I gotta build from this part to get back to that point. So a lot of times I'll go up there, I'll have a rough outline of what I want to say, and then if that punchline hits, then we're good. Now I know it's funny enough to work on. And when I say that, notice I didn't say now the joke is solid and it's ready to go, because it's not. I just now did this joke. It got a laugh tonight. I gotta hope it gets a laugh tomorrow, the next night, the next night, and the next night, and the next night. So that's my process. Is I say I give it 4 or 5 different rooms at least. I give it multiple times of trying it. And then, once it's solid enough to say I can at least put it in the rotation, even then, it's still not where I want it to be, because I can still add more breadcrumbs to it. I forgot who told me this, bro, but somebody told me, they said, man, there are so many different layers to a joke that, we only touch the surface of sometimes. So it's like the difference between um and I'm gonna tell you this, and then I said I would be done in a little bit, but I know once I get talking about this shit, it's crazy. But I got to get right bounce. But I want to say this. So it's the difference between saying, yeah, you know what? The other day I went to a bar across the street. Okay, you can leave it at that. That is a complete thought. You went to the bar across the street. But if you say, well, yeah, man. The other day, first of all, do you understand how cold it was outside? It was ridiculously fucking cold outside. How cold was it? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I wanted to get a drink. And you know what? I used to drink X, Y, and Z, but then I decided to switch it up from this. So then I wanted to walk across the street. And man, do you understand? First of all, this person was coming across the street. You should have seen the fucking car they was in. And you should have seen what they was wearing. So when I get across the street, I'm getting ready to walk in the bar. The dude at the door is this huge motherfucker. And so I just gave you like 4 or 5 layers to the same premise that you know what I'm saying. Now, every little bit of that is a joke. Everything from the time of what I drank to the time of seeing the doorman. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't even talk about even getting in the bar yet. And so all of those things do come from being a student of this, loving it enough, and knowing that you're constantly creating, even if you're not creating, like, because some people create at different paces. Is Jerry Seinfeld? That dude is meticulous in what he does. He writes shit down all the fucking time. I'm not that dude. Like I have to have it I have to feel it organically in order for me to go and want to put it on paper and then on stage.
Yeah, because people would get mad at me. Comics would get mad at me when they say, "Hey, man, want to come over and write?" Like, I don't write, and I think that's why you and I hang out so much. Even when I was in LA, we never sat down like we gonna write.
Right.
We go meet up, we have a drink, and like you talked about GoPro, but that night also you came up with the bit at the strip club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? You came up with that bit. And I remember when you first did the bit in LA, because you did it up north first. I think you went home and you ran it, and then you came back and you told me it was hot, and then you did it at Flappers, I think, someplace. And even when you did it, it was like, uh, me and he took me, like that nigga there took
Mhm.
me,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to go there. And then you went into the bit, which again, solid. It's a solid bit. Like I don't want to say anything about it because I know you still rock it, and it's funny.
Yeah,
Anybody can find.
like I said, man, it's I still love it enough to where I still do the bit. But it's one of those jokes sometimes when I love the jokes that come from real experiences. I love those jokes because no, first of all, no one can really fuck with them. No one can take them because
Right.
those are your real experiences. But also, you can play with those the most because they're the most genuine things you can talk about because you feel like, man, this really did happen. Like this really is a thing. And um and then sometimes you can play around with certain words with it. And because I remember the GoPro line came from that's literally what I said. I said, shit, man, I wear a fucking GoPro. And we both cracked up laughing. It's like, man, okay.
And I
That,
said it. I was like, "That's it, bro. You gotta do something with that." Because we do it
yeah,
all the time. Well, something will come out. I'm like, bro, you gotta rock that one.
yeah.
That's funny. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. And people ask me like, "Why you love comedy?" This is why I love comedy. Like real comics sit around and observe life, right? And come up with these bits and make it legendary. Like you could take a bit. You look at any bit out there you could think of, and just it's legendary because someone observed something. Bill
Right.
Burr, right now my favorite comic on the planet is Bill Burr. Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I dig his style. So he had a bit where he was talking about. Oh, I see you gotta go. He had a bit on there when he was talking about a guy making funny noises on the plane because the plane was bouncing around. The guy was making these funny noises, and I'm sure he was on a plane somewhere listening to some dude make
Hmm.
lady noises, and he turned that into 8 minutes of
Yeah.
pure gold,
And
gold. Like
dude, and that's what I mean by like if you love this, and I love, man, I'm not gonna lie, man. There's very few things in this world that I love. Like I like a lot of shit, but I love, like I love my wife, I love my kids, I love friends and family, and stand up. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm
I
with you.
like it's and that's why I said so. As long as that stays where it is, and the love is still there, then I'm hoping that I can always still be able to go and tell jokes and stuff. So, but yeah, we definitely got to do a part two to this, bro. Because
Yeah, we gotta talk about the politics, man. We didn't delve into that. We gotta talk about the politics of not just Hollywood, but stand up acting and all that in particular, man. Because I definitely want to talk about when you stumbled into some really good success with Last Comic Standing, and then because those years after that, things was crazy. Like you know what I mean, like in a good way
yeah,
and a bad way.
it's been a weird ride, and like I said, there's a lot to be grateful for. There's a lot of stuff that I still got to do and still want to do. But yeah, we definitely let's uh let's put a pin in that one because, like I said, bro, I love you, man, and
I love you back, brother. Thank you.
of course, man, and let's build this platform. Tell your niece, bro, if she, I may have to throw some dollars to give me some subscribers too, man.
Hey man, it's part of a plan. She'll be here Monday, and she's gonna see this, and she'll probably text you like, "What's up?"
All right, that's what's up, man. I
But she
appreciate
on it.
you, bro.
I appreciate you too, man. Be safe, man. Tell everybody I said what's happening. I'm gonna talk to you later.
We'll do. Peace, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Barnett, y'all. Ty Barnett, that's him. Go check him out. Support him. Go find his YouTube. I'll pin all that stuff later. But his Instagram, the comedian Ty Barnett, go check that out. Follow him. If you ever get a chance to see him perform, go see him. Go see him. Like real talk, one of the funniest people in Hollywood. And here's the thing, since we're talking about comedy, right? And I have a little bit of knowledge in that world because as an air traffic controller, I wasn't worried about money, right? It was a passion, it was a hobby that I loved, right? And as a guy, if you're successful, you need these sort of things. You need hobbies, right? You can't just Be focused 100%. I just work all the time, work, work, work. You need to be well rounded. So that was my thing. I'm out, I'm networking, and I fall into this comedy world, and I'm doing it, and I'm good at it. And people are like, what you mean, bro? You sitting there saying you good? That's not my opinion. That's people telling me I'm good. That's strangers coming up to me, shaking my hand and saying, thank you, you made me laugh. Or people coming up to me, shaking my hand. And it's like, oh man, I was hoping you was gonna do the hurricane bit. Or man, I was hoping you were gonna do this bit or whatever. Right? You can't buy that. Right? So all those young people out there, I'm a writer, I'm gonna be a comic, I'm this, I'm that, I'm all these, I'm a jack of all trades or whatever. You got to focus on it. You got to commit to it. And if you're out there doing stand up and you're saying you've never bombed and you the best comedian ever, this, that, and the third, if no one's come up to you, people you don't know, strangers, going out of their way, waiting to come talk to you, to tell you good, then in my opinion, you're not good. You're not good, right? It's kind of like the space out there now with YouTube, right? It's you get to a point where people start hating you, right? No one's hating somebody who's bad at what they do. Let's keep it 100, right? I'm pretty sure there's some channels out there like mine. I got, I don't know, 43 subscribers as of an hour ago, right? There's nobody gonna come on this in this stream and be like, dude, you suck. Who am I? I'm not worthy of hating, right? But when you start getting haters, that's a measure of some sort of success. And in stand up, when you have people coming up to you and thanking you for your, for making them laugh and wanting to shake your hand and take pictures with you and all that, that's when you know that you got something, you're doing something. So all those young comics out there, you trying to figure it out. That's the measure of your success. And here's the thing: if you don't have that, just keep working hard until you do. Right? No one's gonna give it to you, man. No one's gonna give it to you. No shortcuts. You gotta do the work. You have to do the work. And it's just like the people in the manosphere, man. Be it Rollo Tomasi, be it Rich Cooper, especially Rich Cooper. He's always saying, "Do the work," right? And that's in everything you do. We're not just talking about womanizing, whatever, how you get chicks. Nah, be good at whatever you're doing, man. Do the work. I don't care what it is you're doing. If you're the bus boy, do the work. Get in there. Make it better. People like Andrew Tate, man, it's the same thing, man. Like, sit there, do the work, think, use this, and better yourself. So stand-up comedy, I'm here to tell you, it is very difficult. It is very, very hard. Um, Again, I did this stream. I didn't think anybody would actually watch it live or jump in there, but my niece jumped in. Nathan, what's out from the Fresh and Fit family. He jumped in there. Thank you. I responded and shot him a text. You know what I mean? Donnie Cripbar. I don't even know who this is down here, but they sent me something. FYI, it could be some spam or whatever, but I'll take that. Thank you. That's engagement. I'll take that. You want to spam this? Feel free to spam it. Just go back and spam all my videos because I need to get the watch hours up. Again, this is something I'm learning. I want to get into this space. Shout out to Fresh and Fit, Myron and Fresh. Shout out and thanks to you, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for showing me the way, man. I've come down there. I met them. I've sat there and talked to those cats. They cool people, man. They cool people. They endure a lot. And I sit back and I watch it and it's like, wow. You know what I mean? I'm privy to some inside stuff because I do know these cats and I know what's going on. And I know how they are taking all this. I get to see with my own eyes how it affects them, good and bad. So and they handle it like men. I gotta give them their props, man. Like, shout out to y'all, man. They doing their thing. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not gonna be the type of person. I never shy away from those people that I say I'm down with. I rock with them dudes. So I'm not gonna run from that. And there's a lot of people out there that's like, oh man, you shouldn't really be saying that. I say what I want to say, man. I'm a grown up. You feel me? That's just how I rock. And even those guys, I can call them up or text them and ask for help, and they give me help on this. So for those people to call them scammers and this, that, and the third, I haven't seen it. I haven't. I haven't seen it. You know what I mean? But if you know something I don't know, send me the information. Leave a comment. Maybe see some receipts if they scammed you out of some money, which I just don't see. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I just wanted to throw that out there because them are good dudes. and I stopped watching they were live streaming right before I started. And I'm gonna have to go back and finish watching that because I'm salty because it was a good episode. I guess Joe Budden and Nicki Minaj are saying stuff about him or whatever, but that's all business. That's good for y'all, fresh and fit. Keep doing it. Y'all got big names hollering at y'all. That means y'all really moving on up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I have been at this for an hour and 15 minutes. So I am going to end this stream now. Um, we're definitely going to do a part two with Ty. You know what I mean? So we can talk about the politics. There's a lot of politics involved in Hollywood. We're gonna answer those questions. Why bad movies get made. We're gonna answer that question. Like, yo, I have people ask me all the time, like, hey man, how come these people, these comedians, are not funny? Like, there are people that you see them with specials, you see them on TV, you see them out and about, you see them at the comedy joints, and they're like, man, these people aren't really that funny. Why? Well, we'll talk about why because there's a lot of politics involved, man, especially out there in Hollywood. Um, L.A., New York, Chicago, uh, like Seattle, Miami, all the big cities. There's definitely politics involved, and you hear the stories of how rappers and young artists, not just rappers but rock bands and whatnot, they get screwed over with their business deals, doing what they're doing out there in that segment of entertainment. The same thing happens, if not worse, in comedy, especially stand-up comedy, because people they just don't like the powers that be, the people who control the money. They just don't really respect it. They don't, right? So if you're a YouTuber and you got 100,000 followers, right? 300,000 followers, you could probably get on somebody's stage, right? Because all they want is people in the seats, and they don't care if you're funny or not. They just don't. And I get that there's a business, but you also have a responsibility to the customers, like the people who come into your space to see this comedy show. You have to give them what they're paying for. You just can't give them a bunch of crap. And as a promoter, when I was in LA promoting shows, my shows were good. And I take a lot of pride in that. My shows were really good. And I followed one simple rule. The funniest person goes last. That's it. The funniest person goes last, right? Ideally, you want the least funniest person to start, and then the next guy is a little funnier, and the next girl's a little funnier, and so on and so on until you get to your last uh, comic of the night, and that person just rocks it out, and that's the headliner. That's the person that ideally people come to see. That's the person that's the funniest. That's the person that is going to have your customers, the clients you're sitting there enjoying the show, come back. Right? They're definitely going to come back. So if you don't do that, it's a shaky business plan. And I don't, if you don't do that, if you don't stick to that one rule, you might not be doing a lot of business for long. So, but yeah, that's uh that's what we'll talk about. We'll get Ty back on there. I'm gonna get some of my other comedic friends to come on here. Again, I'm just getting started. We're gonna get them to come on here, and we're gonna stay in that lane. When I talk about entertainment, I'm gonna be talking to writers. I'm gonna be talking to actors, comedians, managers, agents, the whole nine. I'm hoping I'll be able to delve into those political uh, do's and don'ts, what I mean, of the Hollywood world and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool, man. It's fascinating. I've seen that, what I mean. I've seen it. Again, I never wanted any money, so I didn't have any problems doing what I was doing in Hollywood. I said no more than I said yeah. So if people ask me to do shows, I would always be grateful when I would go do a show, but I wouldn't necessarily have someone on my show just because they're a name. It's like, bro, yeah, you can come through my show, but I'm gonna have you in the number one and number two slot, and then they feelings are hurt. Like, what do you mean? I'm so and so. I have a name. I'm like, you do. You have a name, and people do know you, but you're not funny enough. You're not funnier than that person, right? Back when I was doing it, I would have guys coming out of the comedy store, coming out of the Improv Laugh Factory, and just was killing. They were peaking, and someone to come along with a name and like, well, I'm gonna go up after that person. Like, nah, man, you're not funny enough to follow Sam Tripoli. I'm not putting you up behind Brett Ernst. I'm not putting you up behind these people. You can't even follow me. So I know, like you can open the show. I'll bring you up first or second. You know what I mean? But after that, nah, man, if you ain't here by that time, we'll catch you next week. And all of my shows were good. I had really good shows. I made more money as a promoter than I did as an actual comedian. And it's not because I wasn't funny. It was because I was focused more on having these shows. My biggest thing, and this is what I've been chasing this, and I'm chasing it to this day. I want to have the perfect show. And people are like, what's the perfect show? I want the show to start on time. I want the audience to get there on time and get seated and get comfortable. I want the artists, the comedians to show up on time and know where they're going up in the lineup and all that. I want like I said, the show to actually start the moment it's supposed to start. That's one of the big things in that business. It's hard to start on time, be it a podcast or some sort of broadcast or comedy or whatever. It's just hard. These things happen, and I would love a show where I have the lineup set perfectly. And the host, if I'm not hosting, the host is perfectly. They go up, they do their 8 minutes up front. They bring up the artist the way that artist wants to be brought up, the way that comedian wants to bring up. You know what I mean? And everyone's happy. And we end the show on time, right? We end the show on time with the perfect DJ spinning in the background, and the party breaks out after, and everything is everything. That's what I'm chasing. I've never had that happen. I've gotten close, but I've never had that happen today. So yeah, and I'll be back tomorrow to talk about on the Patrick Ben Davis show. They had a gentleman on there today, and I forgot his name. I'm sorry, but he's a former KGB agent, and I was watching that today. It was amazing what this wise man was saying about not just what's going on in Ukraine, but what's going on in America. Like, I mean, he has some great insight. You're never gonna get better insight than from a person who was trained to do harm to your land. This guy was a KGB agent, right? He was behind the Iron Curtain, and he trained hard and came to America as a KGB agent. And this guy who loves this country now, obviously, like he's an American citizen, he loves it, but he gave such good insight on what's going on right now. So many gems that he was dropping, and I'm watching this dude, and I'm like, wow, because I've had the same thoughts. And this is an older man who grew up in East Germany, right? Grew up in Europe and East Germany as a communist, right? Behind the Iron Curtain. And I grew up, I'm a lot younger than he is, and I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we see the same things. Like, it just blew my mind. So I'll jump on tomorrow and talk about that. And for all the new subscribers out there, thank you very much. We're going to continue to grind. Liv, I see you. You're not there anymore. She's probably out doing what college kids do, but she did pop on when she saw that her uncle was on his podcast doing his thing, and she showed love. So yeah, that's my baby. And what's up to my entire family? I love all y'all. I know y'all love me back. This is crazy, but this is what we doing, right? Made it out of Cincinnati, man. Avondale, we here. I see y'all. What's up, Faye? You know what I'm saying? I got me and Marv down here holding it down in Tampa. Everybody think, something happened to Marv. No, he's just fine. He's down here. I can't get him on camera. He won't do it, but I'm gonna keep trying because we be talking the streets. And those would be the best episodes ever if I could just get my cousin to do it. But I'm going to continue to work on that. I'm going to have to bribe him with something. And then what's good, J. Lou? My brother just got home a couple days ago. You know what I'm saying? He had to sit down for 5 years. He sat down. He ain't tell on nobody, right? He ain't take nothing easy. He sat down. And they got him on some BS. And couldn't even prove what they accused him of. They couldn't even prove it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to get him on here so we can talk about his experience, and we can also talk about the system, the way it works. Our judicial system is bad. It's really bad. But, it's better than other places in the world. So, all right, that's it. I'm done. Thanks for the one person who's watching this, probably my niece who left her phone on. Thank you. Thank everybody who came out. You know what I'm saying? Nathan, good looking out. Thank you for showing me that love. That means a lot to me because I rock with Fresh and Fit heavy. I am I am a big member of Fresh and Fit fan. I rock with that, and he came out. That just shows that kind of love. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a tight knit community and it's growing, and people are coming and seeing what's over there. I'm watching these guys really level up and get themselves together. And no matter what they do on the other end, at least they're getting themselves together and they're arming themselves with knowledge and they're understanding how the world works. So thank you, Nathan, for coming out, man. I really, really, really appreciate that. Okay, and that's it. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to say goodbye. I don't know. So this is technically episode 2 of the DL Saint podcast. I'll talk to y'all later.